Hello, welcome to chapter 4. This time it's the land of spells. And if you remember, Joe has been stuck upside down from being in the land of topsy-turvy, and the other children have got to go back to Mother and explain why he's not with them. And poor Joe has had to spend the night with Moonface. Rick shot round and down inside the faraway tree on his cushion. He came to the bottom. He shot out of the trapdoor there and landed on the soft green moss. He sat there for a moment out of breath. This is the loveliest slide I've ever had, he thought to himself. Oh, wouldn't I like to do that again? He had just got up from the moss when the trapdoor at the bottom of the tree opened once again, and Frannie shot out on a yellow cushion. Then came Beth, giggling, for she always thought it was a huge joke to slide down inside the tree like that. What do we do with the cushions? Asked Rick. Does Moonface want them back? Yes, he does, said Frannie, picking them up. The red squirrel always collects them and sends them back to him. As she spoke, a red squirrel dressed in a sweater popped out of a hole in a trunk. Here are the cushions, said Frannie, and the squirrel took them. He took them up into the tree and a rope came swinging down. Moonface always lets it down for his cushions, said Beth. Rick watched the squirrel tie the 3 cushions to the rope end. Then he gave 3 gentle tugs on the rope, and once the rope was pulled up, the cushions went swinging up the tree to Moonface. I wish Joe was with us, said Rick as they all went home. Do you think Aunt Polly will be worried about him? Well, we'll have to tell Mother the truth, said Frannie. She's sure to ask where he is. Mother did ask, of course, and the girls told her what had happened. I find this all very difficult to believe, said Mother, astonished. I think Joe is spending the night with Moonface for a treat. I'll trust Moonface to take good care of him tonight, but he must come back tomorrow. Nobody said any more. The girls and Rick felt very tired, and after some hot chocolate and baked potatoes for dinner, they all went to bed. Beth wondered how Joe was getting on at Moonface's. He was getting on all right, though he was very tired of being upside down. It didn't matter how hard he tried to stand up the right way. He always swung back topsy-turvy again. The policeman had put a very strong spell on him. You'd better try and sleep on my bed, said Moonface. I'll sleep on the sofa. I suppose I'll have to stand on my head all night, said Joe. And that's just what he had to do, and it was very uncomfortable. Once he lost his balance when he was asleep and tipped off the bed. He almost fell down the slippery slip, but Moonface, who was awake, reached out a hand and caught his leg just in time. My goodness, said Moonface. Don't go doing things like this in the middle of the night, Joe. It's so disturbing. Well, how can I help it, said Joe. I'll tie your feet to a nail on my wall, said Moonface. Then you can't topple over when you are asleep. So he did that, and Joe didn't fall down any more. When morning came, he was surprised to find himself upside down, because at first he didn't remember what had happened. I'll just peep up through the hole in the cloud and see if by chance the land of spells is there, said Moonface. If it is, we'll go up and see what we can do for you. So off he went up the little ladder and popped his head out through the hole in the cloud to see if Topsy-Turvy was still there or if it had gone. There was nothing there at all, only a big white cloud moving about like a thick mist. Moonface slipped down the ladder again. Topsy-Turvy's gone, he said, but the next land hasn't come yet, he said. We'll have breakfast and then I'll look again. Hello, there's Silky. Stay and have breakfast, Silky dear. I came to see how Joe was, said Silky. Yes, I'd love breakfast. It's funny to watch Joe eating upside down. Hasn't the land of spells come yet? No, not yet, said Moonface, putting a kettle on his stove to boil. There's nothing there at all. But Topsy-Turvy has gone, thank goodness. They all had breakfast. Moonface cooked some porridge. "What do you want on your porridge?" he asked Joe. "Sugar, syrup, cream?" Joe couldn't see any syrup, sugar or cream on the table. "Syrup," he said. "Please, Moonface." Moonface handed him a small jug that seemed to be quite empty. "Syrup," he said to the jug in a firm voice. And syrup came pouring out as soon as Joe tipped up the jug. Silky wanted cream, and cream came out when Moonface said "cream" to the jug. It was great fun. Moonface went again to see if the land of spells had come. This time he came back quite excited. "It's there," he said. "Come on, I better take some money with me, I think, in case we have to buy the spell we want." He took a small bag down from a shelf, and then he and Silky helped Joe to walk upside down up the branch that led through the hole in the cloud to the little ladder. Up he went with great difficulty, holding on tightly to the rungs of the ladder with his hands. At last he was up in the land of spells. This land was like a big marketplace. In it were all kinds of curious shops and stalls. All kinds of people sold spells. In some of the shops sat tall wizards, famous for their magic. In some of them were green-eyed witches making spells as fast as they could. Outside, in the marketplace, sat all kinds of fairy folk on their stalls, pixies, gnomes, goblins, elves, all crying their wares at the top of their voices. "Spell to make your crooked nose straight," cried one pixie, rattling a yellow box in which were magic pills. "Spell to grow blue daffodils," cried a gnome, showing a bottle of blue juice. "Spell to make your cat sing," cried another gnome. Joe could hardly believe his ears. How odd. Who would want to make cats sing? "Now we must just see if we can possibly find a spell to make you stand up straight," said Moonface. And he went into a little low shop where a strange goblin sat. The goblin had blue pointed ears, and his eyes sparkled as he looked out, and he had fireworks with him. "I want a spell," said Moonface. "What for?" said the goblin. "I've a spell for everything under the sun in my shop. Very powerful spells too, some of them. Would you like a spell to send you travelling straight off to the moon?" No, thank you," said Moonface at once. "I know I look like a man in the moon, but with my big round face I look like the moon. But I'm nothing at all to do with the moon, really." "Well, would you like a spell to make you as tall as a giant?" said the goblin. Picking up a box and opening it, he showed Moonface a large blue pill inside. "Now, take a pill and you'll soon shoot up as high as the house, and you'll feel fine. It only costs 1 piece of gold." "Oh, thank you," said Moonface. "If I grew as big as that, I'd never get down the hole in the cloud back to the Faraway Tree. And if I did, I'd never be able to get into the door of my tree house. I don't want silly spells like that." "Silly?" cried the goblin in rage. "You call my marvellous spells silly? Another word from you, stupid old round face, and I'll use a spell that will turn you into a big bouncing ball." Silky pulled Moonface out of the shop quickly. She was quite pale. "Moonface, you know you shouldn't make these people angry," she whispered. "You might find yourself turned into a bouncing ball or a black beetle or something. If you are rude to them, that might happen. For goodness sake, let me ask for the spell we want. Look, here's a bigger shop with a nice-looking witch inside." They went in. The witch was knitting socks from the green smoke that came from the fire. It was marvellous to watch her. Joe wished he wasn't upside down so he could see it properly. "Good morning," said the witch. "Do you want a spell?" "Oh, Yes, please, said Silky in her most polite voice. We want to make our friend Joe stand the right way up again. That's easy, said the witch, her green eyes looking in a kindly way at poor Joe. I've only got to rub a walking spell onto the soles of his feet, and he'll be all right. The walking spell will make his feet want to walk, and he will have to stand up the right way to walk on them, so he will be cured. Come here, young man. Joe walked over to the witch on his hands. He took down a jar from the shelf as she instructed, and she opened it. It was full of purple ointment. The witch rubbed some on the soles of Joe's feet. Rimini, Romini, Reet. Stand on your own 2 feet. Rimini, Romini, Row. The right way up you must go. And of course, you can guess what happened. Joe swung right over, stood on his 2 feet again, and there he was, as upright as Moonface and Silky, and wasn't he glad? I hope you enjoyed that today. I bought some spells in the Land of Spells myself. I thought you might like to see them. So I've got an invisibility spell, and I've bought the one that makes you very small and one that makes you very tall. Perhaps we could try finding the Land of Spells again and buy some more spells. See you tomorrow.